Good evening. Welcome back to the Be Yourself Unapologetically podcast. I'm your host, Becca. We're going to unwrap something a bit heavier than tinsel and fairy lights tonight. This episode is called The Real Cost of Christmas. Not the cost that shows up on the receipt, the cost that shows up in your anxiety, your overdraft, your arguments, and your child's worried little face when they're scared of being the odd one out. So make yourself a cuppa, curl up somewhere cozy, and let's talk honestly about what Christmas has turned into and how we can gently turn it back. When Christmas comes with a credit limit. You know that feeling when the first Christmas advert comes on telly and your stomach drops a bit? Suddenly it is the must-have toy, the latest console, the trainers everybody's wearing. And as a parent or caregiver, your brain goes straight to, if my child doesn't have something like that, will they get laughed at? Will they be left out? Am I a bad parent if I can't afford it? And then, almost without realising, you're scrolling, buy now, pay later, 0% for 3 months. Store card, credit card, Klarna, ClearPay. The pressure is relentless. Christmas, which is supposed to be about warmth and togetherness, becomes a spreadsheet of debt and dread. We don't talk enough about the real cost of that pressure. The cost to your mental health when you're lying awake at night, adding things up in your head. The cost to your relationships when money stress turns into snapping, shutting down, or arguments. The cost to your future self, who is still paying for last Christmas while this year's adverts have already started. And here's the hardest bit to say out loud. So much of it isn't about what our children are asking for, it's about what society tells us a good parent does. We are sold this lie that love looks like piles of gifts under the tree, but love doesn't need a credit check. I don't want them to be the odd one out. Let's talk about that fear. The fear that your child will go back to school in January and be the only one who didn't get the latest phone or the right brand or some huge expensive gift. You picture the playground chat. What did you get? Look at my new phone. I got this and this and this. And your child standing there shrinking inside. That image, it hurts. And when something hurts us as parents, we'll often take on any cost to make that pain disappear. We start thinking, if I just put it on the credit card, if I just get that one thing, if I just stretch a bit further. But here's a gentle truth. Protecting our children from feeling different by putting ourselves under deep financial stress only passes that stress back to them in another form. Because children might not see the bank statements, but they feel the tension in the house, the raised voices, the exhausted silence, the arguments about money when they've gone to bed but can still hear through the walls. They're not just learning what Christmas is, they're learning what self-worth looks like. If we teach them that their value is in what they unwrap, we hand our power and their self-esteem over to whatever trend hits TikTok that year. What if instead we slowly started teaching, you are not less than because of the logo on your shoes. You are not behind because your phone is older. You are not loved by the price tag. You are loved because you exist. That's not an instant fix. That's a long game. But it might just be the game that saves us all. Separated parents and the who loves them more Olympics. Now we need to talk about something tender and complicated. Separate parents, 2 homes, 2 Christmas trees, 2 sets of people who love this child and sometimes feel like they're on opposite teams. If that's your reality, you might know this dance. One parent buys something big, the other parent thinks, I can't let them show me up. I don't want our child to think I love them less. I'll get them something even better. And without meaning to, Christmas turns into a quiet competition. Who buys the most? Who buys the biggest? Who gets the wow reaction? Meanwhile, the child is caught in the middle of a war they never asked for, armed with just a stocking and a forced smile. Sometimes they learn to perform gratitude like a show, huge reactions, big thank yous, because they don't want anyone to feel hurt or left out. Sometimes they start to feel guilty that people are spending so much money on them. Sometimes they feel like they are the trophy everyone's trying to win. And here's something heartbreaking. Many kids in this situation would trade half those presents or more for less tension, less bitterness, and more genuine, peaceful time with the people they love. If you're a separated parent, this is not about blame. You might be carrying your own wounds, your own guilt, your own fear of being the bad one. But your child does not need two Santa Clauses competing. They need two adults who can say, we don't agree on many things, but we agree on this. Your worth is not up for auction. What Christmas was meant to be. Let's pause for a moment and strip everything back. Forget the adverts, forget the supermarket aisles in October, forget the social media halls where everything is colour coordinated and filtered. What was Christmas meant to be? Whether you see Christmas in a religious or spiritual way, or just as a cultural celebration at its heart, it was never about debt. It was about connection, being together or reaching out if you can't. Gratitude, noticing what we have, not just what we want. Kindness to our loved ones, to strangers and to ourselves. Reflection, the end of a year, the stories we've lived and the things we've come through. It's the smell of something in the oven, even if it's just frozen party food. It's the board game that goes wrong because someone's too competitive and everybody ends up laughing. It's pyjamas at 2 p.m. and a nap on the sofa. It's a text to someone who feels alone. It's a hug that says we made it through another year. We've let companies convince us that Christmas is a performance we have to produce instead of a feeling we can create. The real meaning was never in the pile under the tree. It was always in the people sitting around it. Steps to bring back the real meaning of Christmas. Let's get practical now, because it's one thing to talk about all this and another to actually live it when your inbox is screaming sale and your child is talking about what everyone else has. Here are some small realistic steps to start reclaiming Christmas. You don't have to do all of these. Pick one or two that feel possible this year and build from there. Step 1. Set a real honest budget and say it out loud. Before you buy anything, decide, how much can we actually afford without using credit? Not the fancy number, the real, boring, grown-up one. Write it down. If you co-parent or have a partner, talk about it together. Make the budget the boundary, not your willpower on a bad day. And here's the powerful bit. If your child is old enough, you can gently explain, this year we're doing Christmas differently. We're not going into debt. That means you might not get everything on your list, but it also means we won't be stressed and scared in January. Christmas is about more than stuff, and we're going to prove it together. You're not failing them, you're modelling financial safety and self-respect. Agree a truce with your co-parent. If you're separated, this could change everything. Could you send a message that says something like, I've been thinking about Christmas. I don't want to turn it into a competition or a spending war. It's not fair on child's name or honours. Could we agree a rough budget and maybe split certain gifts so it feels more balanced and less pressured? You might not get the perfect response. They might not meet you where you are, but you'll know you tried to put your child first and not your pride. If they won't collaborate, you still have the power to step out of the competition quietly. You can choose not to bankrupt yourself, proving a point. Your child will feel the differences in your energy, even if they can't put it into words yet. Create traditions that cost little but mean a lot. Ask yourself, what will my child remember in 10 years' time? Will it be the specific toy or the feeling of staying up late to watch their favourite film with a hot chocolate? Think about starting simple traditions like a Christmas Eve movie night with blankets and fairy lights, a walk to look at the lights in the local area. baking something together, even if it's just decorating cheap biscuits with icing, making a silly family playlist and dancing around the living room. A gratitude circle where everyone shares one thing they're thankful for from the year. These things cost pennies or nothing at all, but they become anchors in your child's memory. Be honest about advertising with your kids. Instead of silently battling the pressure alone, let your kids see behind the curtain. You might say, you know all these adverts telling you that you need this thing. They're designed to make you feel not good enough without it. Even adults fall for it. But our value doesn't come from what we buy. We get to decide what matters. You're not ruining the magic. You're protecting them from manipulation and teaching them critical thinking. You can still do the fun Santa stuff if that's part of your family, while also teaching that Santa doesn't bring the same amount to every child, and that doesn't mean anyone is less loved. Put connection in the calendar, not just shopping. We schedule shopping days, food drops and present wrapping, but do we schedule connection? Try actually writing in your diary, game night, call Nan, craft afternoon, no phones, just us for an hour. Protect those small pockets of time like you'd protect a delivery slot. Because when January comes, you're much more likely to remember the conversations and the giggles and the half-price toy. Give yourself permission to opt out. You are allowed to say, I can't do Secret Santa this year. We're not buying for the adults, only the kids. We're doing homemade gifts this time. I'm not hosting, I can't afford it. You're not being difficult, you're protecting your energy and your bank balance. Sometimes one brave person in a family saying, can we scale this down, gives everyone else permission to breathe out and admit that they're struggling too. Show yourself some compassion. If you're listening to this and thinking, but I've already spent too much this year, I've already used credit, I've already done the competition thing in the past, take a breath. You are not a bad parent. You are a human, doing the best you can in a system that constantly tells you your child tells you you're not enough and your child isn't either. This isn't about shame. This is about awareness. You can start to change things from this Christmas or from the next one or from a random Tuesday in March. There's no deadline on choosing differently. A different kind of Christmas story. So imagine this. It's Christmas morning. The presents are fewer, but chosen with care and within your means. There's no secret panic about how the rent's getting paid. No dread of the January bank statement like a horror film waiting to drop. Your child still laughs, they still get excited, but so do you, because you're not acting through a knot of anxiety. Later, maybe you all walk somewhere. Maybe you video call someone you love. Maybe you stay in pyjamas all day and eat leftover roast potatoes at 9 p.m. And when everyone finally goes to sleep, the house is quiet, but your brain is quiet too. No calculations, no what have I done spiral, just a soft, tired, hopeful kind of peace. That's a Christmas that honours you, honours your child, and honours the real meaning of this time of year. Love, presence, and enoughness. If this episode has poked at some tender places for you, I'm sending you so much compassion. You deserve a Christmas that doesn't break you. Your child deserves a Christmas where they feel cherished, not used as proof that you're keeping up. And together we deserve a cool child that stops equating love with how many boxes are under a tree. Maybe we can't change the whole world this year, but we can change what happens in our home. We can choose less pressure, less debt, and more presence. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with another parent who quietly panics about Christmas right now. Sometimes knowing we're not the only ones questioning all of this is the most healing gift. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take a deep breath. You're not failing. You are learning, growing, and doing the brave work of rewriting what Christmas means in your family. Until next time, remember, Be kind to yourself, be kind to your wallet, and be yourself unapologetically.